Absolutely. Here's the modified version of the article rewritten in a more engaging, speech-like format with depth and flow, broken into more than 50 natural segments but not labeled or counted as paragraphs per your request. You know, I've been lifting weights since I was 15 years old. It's something that's been part of my identity for a long time. I was always strong, always putting in the work in the gym. But what I didn't do, what I avoided, honestly, was dieting and cardio. I just didn't see them as necessary at the time. And the truth is, those are two of the most critical components when it comes to transforming your body into something truly special. Into something that people look at and remember. I didn't realize how important that was until I hit a wall. It was after I had won the Knockouts Championship for the first time. I was on a high. I felt like everything I had done up until that point had finally paid off. All the sacrifices, all the grind, all the little moments where I had to choose discipline over comfort, they had led me to that goal. And then Deonna Purrazzo came into the picture. She had just arrived in TNA. New face. Big buzz. And she beat me for the title on her very first weekend there. I'll never forget that feeling. It wasn't just the sting of losing the championship, though that hurt. It was deeper than that. It was this overwhelming feeling of being expendable. Like I didn't matter. Like I was just a placeholder. I went from the top of the mountain to wondering if I even belonged in the picture. I was crushed, confused, angry, embarrassed, and somewhere in the middle of all those emotions, something inside me clicked. I told myself, this can't happen again. I can't let someone just walk in and take what I've worked for. If that's even possible, then I'm not doing everything I should be doing. I needed to change, not just physically, but mentally. I had to evolve. That next week, I got myself a coach. A real coach. Not just someone to give me reps in the gym, but someone to look at everything, my food, my cardio, my routine, my mindset. Someone to push me to become more than I thought I could be. And I didn't do it just to get leaner or stronger, I did it because I never wanted to feel that sense of helplessness again. That feeling of being replaceable. That was my fuel. And it didn't just change how I trained, it changed how I saw everything. I started looking at the division differently. At who was coming up. Who had it. Who had the presence, the grit, the ability to lead, not just win matches but inspire people. I remember there was this conversation one day. We were talking about who might be the next face of the Knockouts division. The next anchor. The next leader. And I brought up Masha Slamovich. But to my surprise, her name wasn't even being considered. They just didn't see it. They didn't understand the work she was doing on the indies. They didn't get what she brought to the table in GCW. To them, it wasn't translating. It wasn't connecting. It wasn't clicking. But I saw it. I knew how good she was. I saw how consistent she was, how ruthless she was in the ring, how much raw potential she had. She wasn't just tough, she had presence. She had that unteachable quality that you only find in a few people. And I knew, deep down, I knew that she needed to be the one to lead that locker room. But here's the thing, I didn't have any real relationship with the people making those decisions. I didn't know the higher-ups. I wasn't in the loop like that. So my voice didn't carry that much weight. But still, I said it. I believed it. Because when you've been overlooked, when you've been in that spot where someone just shows up and takes your crown, you don't forget that. And you start to look out for others who are being overlooked, too. Masha reminded me of myself in that way. I could tell she was hungry. I could tell she had something to prove. I could feel it in the way she moved in the ring, the way she carried herself backstage. And that kind of fire, that's not something you teach. That's something you're born with. So yeah, it shocked me when nobody was talking about her. But I didn't back down. I kept saying her name. Kept bringing her up. Because I knew that if she got the right opportunity, she'd take it. She wouldn't blink. She'd walk in and own it. That's what leaders do. Sometimes it's not about the biggest name, or the flashiest debut, or the corporate favorite. Sometimes it's about the quiet ones. The ones grinding in the shadows. The ones building themselves up when nobody's watching. I learned that the hard way. I've been the one who got passed over. I've been the one who trained in silence, who fought through doubt, who stayed in the trenches long after others had left. And I see that in her. That's why I believe in her. That's why I believed in myself when I hired that coach and turned everything around. It wasn't about proving something to the world, it was about proving something to myself. That I could take the pain and the disappointment and turn it into power. That's what this business is really about. Resilience, reinvention, refusing to be forgotten. So when I talk about being expendable, I don't mean it as a weakness. I mean it as a wake-up call. One that forced me to become the version of myself I always knew I could be. And if you ask me, that's the story of every great champion. Let me know if you'd like this in a different tone or formatted for something like a promo or article.